People could see that. Hello, hello. Here in a different setting, I guess. We're live from DC here, and crazy game today here for the Panthers. Here on, was it the 14th? Yeah, 14th of October. Here on PounDENN. We are part of the Riot Network, again powered by Ortho Carolina. Here, a little different. We got Bobby on the phone here. What's going on, my man? I think he's over there.
What's going on, man?
What's up, dude?
I'm here. What's going on, man?
We have something a little different, Bobby. Tonight, the podcast is invaded by the girl gang. I'm here joined with Joan and Anna from the girl gang. How you guys doing?
Good.
Thanks
How are
thanks for coming out and hanging out. We're live here from DC. I'm doing well, by the way. And they have brought me, and I'm gonna switch it over to my solo here. They have brought me this weird substance, if you can see that. So maybe I'll have one of those, but we're gonna.
Did you just fling down the corn?
He did.
I put it down nicely.
Disrespecting
Put it
the
down
corn.
nicely.
We're gonna
Such disrespect to the candy corn.
We're gonna break down this game today. There's so much to talk about. In a kind of a negative way. Bobby, you yelled at me for being negative last week. Can I be negative this week?
No.
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 Okay.
No.
Well, you know what? One of the interesting things is I did throw it out on Twitter, and I said this game today was blank. Joan, I think you said
Frustrating.
frustrating.
Yeah.
What do you got,
Yes.
Anna?
Annoying.
Bobby, what's one word to describe today's game?
Can I use two words?
You sure?
Okay. Panthers football.
Oh,
Just like you said
ouch.
last week. Yeah.
Ouch.
No, I think that I personally think that gives them an out. I mean, Panthers football over the years has been better and worse than today. Of course, we like to compare everything to 2015, but it certainly wasn't 2009 or 2010.
No.
So Panthers football
Yeah.
has historically been inconsistent, but we saw what it could be in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Well,
Because that last touchdown drive, what did I tell you on your live video, Bob?
what did you tell him, Joe?
You told me.
It was a thing of beauty, is what that drive was.
Yeah. Well, they
Okay.
Because
yes.
they executed every single play the way it needed to be. And so when we got the ball back with a minute, with 2 minutes and 12 seconds left,
Yeah.
Well,
I thought we'd pull it out.
I think one of the things about Panthers football is there's always four quarters.
Thank God.
Oh my God.
Well, in a good way, in a good way, in a
Yeah.
bad way. I mean,
Sometimes we need 5.
whether you're up, whether they're up, whatever, 26-3, that's going to come down to the fourth quarter. And, someone put it into perspective, the two losses here, there's, oh, I thought that was, there we go. There's
Sorry.
sodas opening.
Sorry.
If you look at this game, really 4 fumbles by this
Oh,
Panthers team
gosh,
today.
yeah.
2 of them recovered. Cam basically threw that to Van Roten. That was probably one of the most terrifying things that I've ever seen. But but
Fat guy running.
y-
Fat guy running.
but to have all those bad things and just like Atlanta, it did come down to the final play. So there is that bright side, but I don't know. Cam came out today saying that this team needs to start fast. Pretty much
Oh.
the opposite today,
Oh.
I thought.
Well, yes and no. So that first fumble by DJ,
Mhm.
he was trying so hard to do something extra.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's what we love about him when he breaks tackles and
Yeah.
you know
That's his claim to fame is the yards
Yeah.
after catch, and I think that he would have been better to just go down
Mhm.
and not keep forcing it. And
Well, the crazy thing is, with the first few weeks, you had DJ Moore, you have Christian McCaffrey, yak football. The past 2 weeks haven't exactly been that. It's been them, like, I have no idea. We'll get into the last drive, but just throwing fades to Devin Funchess and long developing plays. It's
Do
kind
you-
of like a Jekyll and Hyde.
do you think that they are thinking, oh, they think we're going to throw it to them so they can get
Maybe
yak,
it's a little
and then
outsmarting themselves.
maybe
Although Torrey Smith today
I was just getting ready to
Oh,
say
did
that.
have some nice
man.
plays. I took my L on Torrey Smith, Bobby. I'm going to take it back. I'm going to take my L back. Maybe Torrey Smith won't be so bad in the long run.
It was a it's always a bad feeling when we go for 2 because we have not been good on 2-point conversions. And when
Yeah,
I saw we were going to
historically,
2, what
it's
did I
just
do?
not good.
I had my head buried in Anna's
Yeah.
jacket. I could hardly watch. And when I saw Cam kind of take a little
Yeah.
barely a step back, and Tori was just standing there wide,
Yeah,
freaking
he
open.
was
It was
wide
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, there was some nice and actually Torrey made some plays on Josh Norman today too.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
That's
Yeah.
nice to see.
Well, I saw
It
Christian
is.
juke him early in
He did.
in the first half too.
And Josh can take his gifted interception
Yeah.
all he wants. I'll call that a punt. But hey, Bobby, I want to talk about how an extra point miss almost blew this whole game again.
Oh gosh.
What do you think
For
about
what?
it? What's up?
For what? For what?
Me and you have
wanna
had the
discuss that
argument.
For what? Just so you can. Well, the only reason you bring it up is
Oh,
so you can
no.
gloat about it. We know that. That's the only reason. you bring
Well,
it up.
just to,
that has nothing to do with the ending of the game.
my point
whatsoever.
is we're talking about them going for 2. You don't have to do that. My point has always been a missed extra
Did
point.
we get it?
We did. But in the
Okay,
event that they did
so-
not get that,
Yeah.
me and
Yeah.
you would have been talking
So,
forever.
so basically, what we're saying is So if you want to throw out ifs, we can throw out if. North Turner calls better calls, maybe we win that game, right? I mean, we can throw out ifs all day. The point is, Granville made a mistake. We made up for it, and we were in it at the end of the game.
But
I'm not going to let you do this.
how do you-
I'm not going to let you do it then.
How do you make a 63-yard field goal one week and then your
That's-
next kick
Was it
is an extra point?
was it a bad hold?
I don't know.
That's
Maybe
I
that's
mean,
what I'm thinking.
maybe
I
a
don't-
meanie
it was
blocked
like-
it again. I
You
don't.
can't
I
like
mean,
you
we don't-
can't
we
put
don't
it
know
all
what's
on
up.
Graham because there's so many more other factors that go into that play
Yeah.
that it's
Pilardi
not
had
all
a
on
bad
him.
punt. Not a
You
great.
did.
Yeah.
That second punt, I
Mhm.
think, wasn't.
And
And I'm not sure what they were doing back there. DJ, clearly could have, jumped on that ball on the one,
Mm-hmm.
that first,
Yeah.
and he just kind of, watched it sail into the end zone, and he was right there. I mean,
Right.
that was
Yeah.
in the end zone.
I think that's what was so frustrating about today was just that that whole entire first half was just all 3 facets of the team were just in complete distress. There wasn't even anybody that was
Right.
trying to bail us out. It was just so painful to watch because
Yeah.
everyone was
It was
struggling.
such bad execution all the way around, regardless of what plays were being called. The plays that were being called were being executed so poorly
Mm-hmm.
that, everybody wants to blame it on
One
play
person
calling or coaching
Gano
or time management
yeah.
or Gano or DJ or Cam.
Yeah. And
It's so it
I feel like a lot of
encompassed-
times that happens is it's not the Panthers are either on the same page or they're not.
Yeah.
It's like everything was wrong today.
This was so reminiscent of that
Yeah.
Bears game. It was horrible.
2 weird
because,
turnovers.
yeah, it just
Yep.
and at the end they were just still in it, and they
Mhm.
had no business being in that game by what we saw in the first half.
Right.
And that just proves that this
Yeah.
Washington team is not that great because They should
Or
have
are
blown
they
us
or are they
out.
better than?
Yeah,
I mean, they, were ranked first in defense,
they
and
Bob,
they had
yeah,
played crap teams.
right.
Now they can count this
There you go.
performance among
As a
them.
big win.
Yeah, everyone was talking about and Bobby picking against the Panthers again, and the Panthers not covering that or not winning the game or covering the spread. So Bobby, I think I'm going to start going on your train, and everyone will kind
No,
of
you're
yell at me
not.
now.
Nope.
Yeah, yeah.
Nope. Stay where you are.
Yeah, no, I'm
Oh.
gonna.
Stay where you are.
So, I think one of the biggest things today is when you point at what was one of the biggest issues that hurt them the most was just penalties, was discipline. That the last field,
Yeah.
I think it was the last field goal that they got, was a result of a offsides.
By Don Terry Poe.
It was a Poe, and
Yeah.
then there was the fumble by Alex Smith that they ended up picking up
Right.
And yeah.
Right.
gaining just enough yards. Those two things
Yeah.
are so weird, and those two that penalty and that conversion was a 55-yard field
Yeah.
goal that he hit.
It was 56.
I mean,
but yeah.
One of my favorite words that I put that poll out on Twitter was someone said this Panthers loss was avoidable. It was actually Danny Guy. He and that's like I think the perfect word for it.
Mm-hmm.
They could have avoided this loss by just doing little things, not jumping, not fumbling.
Well, I mean, I think, yeah, that's true. But you know what really irritates me about the finger pointing is, for some reason, when a running back, and I said this when I was live on Periscope earlier, but
Mhm.
when a running back doesn't hit a hole, nobody says anything. They just say, "Oh, he's down. He got tackled." When a fullback or whoever misses that block, they forget about it after the next play.
Mhm.
But when a field goal kicker misses a kick, a player fumbles the ball, quarterback throws an interception or a bad pass, people talk about it all week long.
Yep.
And it's like, why are these guys so much under a microscope more than anybody else? And it's really unfair. Like, when you look at DJ making those mistakes, this is really the first time he was put out there to me and counted on as much as he was today. And those are rookie mistakes. He will learn from those. These are learning experiences for him. And you look at Graham Gano missed extra point. How often will you really see him do that? And we still don't know the inside and out. Was the ball held right? Was the snap right? Or whatever, was it being spun right? Was the laces out? Whatever the case may be. But when you look at this team today, and you take a look at why we lost, the truth as to why we lost, yes, we fumbled. Yes, we had 2 fumbles that we lost. We had an interception, which leads to 3 turnovers. But you got to ask the question: Where's the big man K'Wan Short with this big paycheck he's getting? Where's Vernon Butler? Where's Dontarie Poe? Cal Love, I did see him out there. I made fun of him earlier because he had me laughing. Like, you saw his belly jiggling up and down as he was trying to chase those guys. But he was doing a great job. I was very impressed with Cal Love. He was redirecting the runs. He redirected Adrian Peterson a couple of times. And he even, forced Alex Smith out of the pocket. But where are these guys? And again, Julius Peppers is 9,000 years old. We should not be depending on him. Like, we're talking football years. I think he's like 38. 38 in real life is young. But in football life, it's not young. We should not be depending on Julius Peppers to be our sole source of pressure. And Mario Addison, those guys just aren't getting the job done. So when you look at the real reason we lost, I'm going to point the finger not at one person, but I'm going to point the finger at the entire defensive line, and I'm going to ask the question, where are you? And when we started to get pressure, the Redskins switched to a hurry-up offense, which gassed us.
Yep.
You saw even Luke was out there trying to catch his breath. They gassed us and when they went to the hurry-up offense. But I don't know. I'm not going to point fingers at one person because no one person, and a lot of people say DJ Moore did, but I'm not going to put this on him. We had an opportunity at the end of the game to win it. I'm going to put this on the defense and time that went off of the clock due to the defense not getting stops. I think we had 3 offensive possessions in the entire second half.
Mm-hmm. Well,
3 offensive possessions in the second half. That's ridiculous.
Everyone's pointing the fingers at coaching and the defense. I mean, Ron Rivera didn't fumble those balls. And also, the defense made stops when they needed to. I mean, if you want to
I don't know about that.
they got the ball. Well, they held them to that field goal.
You're
They
being
they got
generous.
what I'm saying is
How many times did they punt the ball?
They at the end of the game, they got the offense in position to win the game.
Okay.
Is that
I mean, if they let a touchdown up,
on
if they let a touchdown up on the last Redskins
But you
drive.
just said that if it hadn't been for Poe, and if it hadn't been for that
True.
kind of fumble
But
by Alex Smith that somehow
that wasn't
advanced the
their
ball 7 yards.
But that wasn't their last field goal, right? That was
No, that was their last field goal.
the 55-yarder was the last one.
56.
No, it
Yeah, that was
wasn't.
the last one.
No, we had like a chip shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What was it, like a 20-something yarder or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 30, 20? Okay.
So everyone's talking about Eric. You've expressed your thoughts, Bobby, on Steve Wilkes. How you feeling about Eric Washington though? It seems like it's almost like a completely different scheme. Like maybe like it's the exact opposite of what you wanted. They don't.
It's
I
so
feel like we don't
lackluster.
blitz.
I mean,
Yeah,
ever.
I don't.
I mean,
I
can
saw
I? Yeah, can I?
no
Go ahead,
pressure.
Bobby.
No, I didn't mean to cut them off. Go ahead, you guys, ladies, go ahead.
Oh no, I think no. We were waiting on
Oh,
you.
okay. Sorry. Yeah, basically, to be honest with you, I see no blitzes whatsoever. And I know my argument last year was too much blitzing, but I didn't say go all the way away from it, right? It's still a part of the game. But to be completely honest with you, man, I'm really going to say something that I never thought I'd say. Our linebackers look ridiculous. Thomas Davis came back today. He looked amazing. He had I think, two or three pass breakups.
Yep.
I really loved what I saw from him. I expected that energy from him. But when it came down to Shaq Thompson, the defensive play calls really aren't that bad. They just aren't where they're supposed to be. Like, literally, Luke turned back and looked at Shaq Thompson like, you were supposed to be there. And the ball was thrown right to where you were supposed to be. And Shaq Thompson's been out of position numerous times this year. Today, I literally counted like 4 or 5 times. 2 of them were on third downs. That they got third downs because not Thomas Davis, but Shaq Thompson was out of his position. And, you got to start to ask yourself, with the lack of pressure from the D-line, is it starting to take a toll on the linebackers? Are they starting to say, well, the D-line isn't getting a stop over here, so now I need to go. I feel like I have to go help over here when really I'm supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So
there's just a
I'm
lot
not,
of time.
I'm not a fan. Yeah, there's a lot of time. I'm not a fan of the no blitzing, and I wasn't a fan of Steve Wilkes' system last year. But Eric Washington has to do something to rally these guys. This is arguably the most talented defense, name-wise and skill-wise, that we've probably ever had.
Yeah.
And we're not utilizing it. And somebody has to talk to him. And a lot of people are tweeting that he should be fired. Honestly, I got to be honest. I don't call for people to be fired much, but we're talking mid-season. If by week 8 or week 9 his defense still looks like this, he has to go.
Wow. Well, you mentioned the names that we have. One name that came up for a little bit, but now that he's actually playing football, has been a little bit quiet. And a comment came in here about Eric Reed, saying he hasn't been a difference maker. And actually, there was 1 or 2 plays this game.
Yes, he has.
There was 1 or 2 plays this game, and I pointed out to Jamie and Zach that AP would have 100% scored against any other
4.
safety in the league.
I counted 4 times he got through the linebackers that he came up and made the tackle, because I was like, who was that? Because he's so much bigger than Pop and Captain and Dante that I haven't quite got used to seeing him out there yet. But that guy is for a secondary player. Yeah. He's a monster.
Not many people take down AP one-on-one middle of the field.
And I saw somebody mentioned that he missed. He was out of, he was out of position for the first for that Vernon Davis touchdown.
But that's it.
But that was it. Other
that
than
was
that,
much too easy. Yeah, they took their shot on first down. They
made us pay.
It's the thing. People don't realize, just because sometimes not hearing somebody's name is a good thing. You remember when we never heard Josh Norman's name? Yeah, like we never heard Josh Norman's name some games just because people weren't throwing to him. And that's just what it is. Sometimes not hearing a player's name is okay. And if you actually go and look into the replays and look into the game film, Justice Jones, was that Joan that was just talking? Was that you, Joan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So Justice Jones was just saying, like, the guy's all over the field. I don't know if people are actually paying attention to the missed tackles that are on the field, but he's preventing extra yardage.
Yes.
And
just
that's
as she said, not a lot
how
of people.
Bradbury plays too. Like, he plays really well, and he just doesn't get a lot of the glory and stuff because he's not as vocal about it, and he's not as big as like at showboating, but he's like quietly doing his job, and he's going up against the best wide receivers in the league,
and he's doing well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he was our leading tackler last week.
Was he? That and then that's one thing I was like asking myself about Poe, because obviously he doesn't have the stats, but sometimes it's tough. You saw it with Star. You take up a double team, you don't get the stat, but you may get the pat on the back. I don't know. I don't really know what I thought. I think I expected a lot more out of Dontari Poe, but if we're talking stats.
I mean,
are we talking stats?
Well, I guess we're talking stats now.
Then that's
that's
Anna's line of work.
So,
I don't know. I just you haven't seen or heard much from KK or Don Terry, and people are saying that because they are getting double teamed, and but you have to expect that, and should be able to scheme or game plan for that to happen. They have to figure out a way to still get that pressure. I did see Abada make a few tackles for loss.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Julius got a sack that
And that's
really
such a
didn't really
bonus.
count
Yeah.
for anything good.
FA is such a bonus too, because I mean, this is a guy that going into the season, I mean, let's be honest, didn't even think would be on the team.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's not only on the team but making plays is like, we've talked about them needing help at the end. Kind of lucky that we even have him there. It's if we we didn't have him, it could get a little ugly over there. But
Yeah.
you
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm trying to figure out who played today that they needed to, inactivate, like Brian Cox Jr.,
mm-hmm.
who was playing on special teams that clearly our special teams, whoever they did start,
Yeah.
could that have been somebody that they maybe could have
Yeah.
played instead of, because I thought he's been,
Right.
had some good.
Well, speaking about people who didn't play, Curtis Samuel, C.J. Anderson, and Ian Thomas. If anyone sees them, let Ron Rivera know.
I saw Curtis in the end zone on all the kickoffs, and
that's about it.
that was it.
Yeah, I think he had a couple snaps. C.J. had one snap today.
Oh my god.
And we were talking about him on Twitter earlier. Like, I feel like since that Atlanta game when he took the ball off his hands and had the pick, we haven't seen a lot of C.J. Anderson.
But he had that touchdown in the Cincinnati game.
He did.
And that play call was fantastic.
That was a screen, right?
Yeah.
The screen.
Everybody thought it was going to go to Calf.
Yeah, they were using him as a decoy.
So you got that. But I was looking it up. He had 2 carries that game. So I just still don't understand why.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm totally fine with him and Christian being our running backs, not Christian being back there. Curtis Samuel, I have no idea.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm going to say about Curtis, and it's because of what I do.
The hard thing?
It's because what I do for a living is that after last week's game and after practice, yes, he may have, not been injured or had any, but, could there possibly have been some symptomology that he had after that game or after practice where they felt that it was safer for him to maybe not be playing?
Yeah, I guess.
I'm throwing it out there just because, I don't even know what, heart irregularity he had.
Right.
I've heard rumor, but I don't know anything for sure. But,
and
was that some sort of a, trying to be prudent? And, and Ron's not going to tell us all that stuff.
Right. He used to. Ron used to basically tell the
Too
team
much.
what they were running. Then
He's an open book.
So, yeah. Bobby, we got a comment here that you'll probably agree that Vernon Butler shouldn't have played today.
Oh.
Your buddy.
Oh, my God. He's terrible.
Vernon Butler should never play. David Gettleman owes us one for that.
He's terrible.
Vernon Butler is a waste of space. I would much rather see him not get a jersey and somebody like Cameron Artis playing get a jersey. It's absolutely ridiculous.
So now we're talking about our third running back.
Yeah.
Bobby, we want to see our second running back play.
And see, back to the CJ thing, what really bothers me too is that this team is known historically for running back by committee, and we just haven't seen that.
Yeah.
And I want to know whose call that is.
Yeah.
Why was that thrown out of the playbook completely?
No one knows.
Scrapped it.
Yep. No. It's
well. You know what? I will say this, and it's good that you asked that question. But I will say this. That and I put a lot on Ron, but that I'm not going to say because normally Ron Rivera's thing is pound the ball, and with North Turner here, it seems like we don't really have an identity at all. We don't know if we're going to be that team who runs the ball 30 times a game. We don't know if we're going to be that team who throws the ball 40 times a game.
Yeah.
We really don't know who we are right now. I've never seen a confused team. I've seen us not have talent and try to maximize the talent, but I've never seen us have this much. And I said the same thing about the defense. We have so much talent on offense for us not to be able to be impressed. We're still going to lose, but at least let us be impressed with what we have on the team. Like,
Right.
I'm not seeing this North Turner special offense at all. And then you asked the question 2 weeks ago. Well, maybe he doesn't want teams to see what he has, but
Time's running out.
I kind
Yeah.
of gave. Yeah, like, and we're getting to the point of the season now where we need to win as much as we can. Because I'm going to be completely honest with you. Matt Ryan is playing out of his mind, and there's only a matter of time before Atlanta get their stuff together. And we know what the Saints are doing. They just had a bye week, so they're rested up. We know what they're doing, and it's only going to be a matter of time before we get to the point where we're like, hey, when are we going to start playing football? And this is not the division that to be lollygagging in, and North Turner needs to get his stuff together ASAP.
Well, let me ask this. Granted, the Giants and the Redskins are two very good pass defenses and with great defensive line. I almost feel like our offense has gone backwards. Whereas the first few games in the season, obviously the Atlanta one was a loss, but you saw a lot more McCaffrey, you saw a lot more checkdowns, you saw a lot more different names getting involved. And now it's basically Cam throwing the ball to Devin Funchess and Greg Olsen. And that's
okay
all. That's
that.
kind of
I'm
last
okay
year's
with
offense, or 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you have to keep in mind that today's game can kind of be seen as an outlier because once you get down 3 scores or 4 scores, whatever it was at that point, like your game plan does have to change of just like tossing it down the field and getting down there to get first downs and to score. But it, like you said, like it wasn't just this game.
I mean, DJ had some.
He did, and actually, the thing that stunk was
Jenke had a really nice second or third down, pickup, and then there was Torrey. So to say that they only threw it
for most of today's game.
Yeah.
Early in the game, it was weird, and
it was weird.
Christian
it was 3 run plays.
Yeah.
And then it was the next set of
when they needed to when they seemed like they were coming back to win that game was the offense that we would expect, but it definitely wasn't that.
Oh, absolutely.
And Christian McCaffrey, comment here, should have gotten more touches. 8 carries in this game for 20 yards. So
mind-blowing.
You don't see Cam Newton throw the ball 40 times a lot in a football game.
No.
So
and it was all like they put the blinders on Cam, and he was just throwing it to Greg like every single play,
nice
like
to see
looking
Greg
for
out there,
fun. It was absolutely.
And
but
that
there's a lot more players like.
Yeah.
Jarius didn't even get that many looks today. And
that ball was going to him at the end too.
He's been really reliable for us.
I need to go back and relook.
He
at
did
that.
get held a little bit.
Held.
We'll take a look at it. Yeah, and it seems like he kind of did like an out, and I don't think it was Norman, but kind of held his shoulder almost. So it could have been a call. I'm not gonna.
Those refs today, like let's not even get into that.
I'm not gonna go too crazy about crying for the flag. I thought that should be defensive holding, but I don't know. I also thought Graham.
I mean, whether that was defensive holding or not, I mean, I would have loved to see on that play. I got to be honest with you. I would have much rather see Cam tuck that ball and run for it.
You need 5 yards.
Even the pass.
Yeah,
even the pass was like that. Pass was a good pass. You guys know I take up the Cam a lot, but that pass on 4th and 5 just wasn't a good pass at all. And even if he wasn't held, I don't think he would have got to that. He probably would have tipped it. But looking at those plays, first and whatever went to Christian McCaffrey in the back of the end zone. But those play calls are so horrible. We only needed 5 yards, and we were taking shots. Just get the 5 yards. And that's what that right there didn't seem. It just reminded me of Shula. When you need 5, you go for 15. Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Like, it doesn't register to me. Yeah, it just doesn't register with me at all. And I'm really as confused as a Panther fan at 3-2 as I've ever been, because I don't get what we're doing at all.
And the attempts were.
Imagine what the players feel like if we feel like
this. The attempts seemed like almost like prayers too. Like I think they threw 2 fades in the left corner. One to McCaffrey, and one that wasn't even close to Devin Funchess.
It was the same exact throw too. It wasn't even like like they all knew it was coming, and it was so easy to defend against it because it wasn't even like in the vicinity of our offensive players.
One hot topic, Bobby, was Ron not going for it on 4th and 1.
Gosh, I was kind of surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, it was a tie game, though, right? Or were they up 7-0?
No,
I think they were up 7-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ron wanted to play the field position.
Yeah, we're back
game.
to the days of a punt is not a bad play, and
Yeah, I'd be honest with you. I would have loved to see Riverboat at that moment, but I'm not too upset about that because I mean, it would have been cool to see, but that didn't cost us. I don't think that cost us anything.
Well, how can you say that? Because if I mean, how many fourth and ones, and you stick Cam under center, just let him. I mean, how often does he not get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't
Then
get me
again,
wrong. He's
last
gonna get it
week it
more
was
often than not.
that last week it was what, third and
Yeah.
12
Oh yeah.
or no, was it third and 1 that they threw it to like a 10 or 12-yard pass to Jarius
Yep. Well, when
Yeah,
it,
on
Jerry.
third and 1, and you
I
know
didn't
that
think
they
he
were
was
going
gonna
to
catch that
run
either.
the ball there.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
It's so confusing. Like you
It's
said,
really
it's just
weird.
so
Yeah.
confusing.
It's the offense, and sometimes like the offense, midfield is the offense that we should be running on the goal line, and then it's like reversed. We
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put
it's
it.
like they. How many times have we seen them give the ball to McCaffrey on like third and or whatever inside the 5 yard line, and him just go nowhere, and then it's a field goal. Like it's like
Yeah.
so I don't
Yeah.
get it.
The red zone offense is
Yes,
just like
it's really
non-existent.
confusing,
It
so-
is really puzzling.
Well, hey, let's talk about the most important part of this game, and that's how awesome they looked with black pants and white jerseys. No?
I liked it. I
I
liked
thought
it.
I thought it was hot.
A lot of people don't like it, and then now we'll probably never
yeah,
ever wear
now
the
it's
black
gonna be
pants
like
again.
scrap it.
But it
And
was
then-
nice
and
of them
then,
to do that today.
Yeah, and then there's comments about, well, there's blue socks.
yeah,
I don't get it,
I-
so whatever.
I
I actually like the black socks with the.
with
I
the black
kind of like the
pants.
blue, but that's just me.
Okay. I think it's a little more
I
sleek.
think again,
It's
then
up.
you got to understand the blue brings out the accent and the logo, so you have to
In the-
to
oh, okay.
wear the blue.
Yep.
I mean, again, our quarterback drip sauce daily. You have to know that.
I think they always wear blue socks, though, don't they?
You know what? I think when they wore those,
even with the all black, they wore blue socks.
Exactly.
I think when they wore
is
those
so
uniforms
silly.
in Pittsburgh, because they wore them in the last preseason
they
game.
wore blue.
Did they wear blue? Okay.
Because I think I remember.
Oh
you
no,
saying-
I remember. No, so Cam didn't play that game.
Right.
So he had his own, just like not even high socks, and they were black
Oh, okay.
sauce.
He's just doing his
Well,
thing.
always.
Yeah.
The drip chronicles, man.
There you go.
Hey, one kind of weird thing, Bobby, is we were sitting pretty close to DJ Moore's mom.
Oh yeah.
I
So
saw.
tough time to be in
Miss
the
Cookie.
stands. Coming home game for DJ didn't exactly go as planned, which stinks because that slant he caught on his second fumble was great.
Until he
mean-
tried to do a little bit too much.
And I don't like him returning punts.
Mm-mm.
I don't
Fumble
either.
aside, what was it in preseason when he ran backwards?
Yeah. Somebody needs to
just-
give Demir Bird some calcium
what is
and
wrong
just
with
like
Demir
get
Bird?
him back on
Yeah.
this field.
He's
It's
made of glass.
ridiculous.
I don't know.
That poor man.
I it's weird, man. But then you know
I get the feeling that Demir Bird he's going to be that guy that and I hate to say this, but he's going to be that guy that we always say, what if he could have stayed healthy?
Yeah.
You know, and it's I just don't get a good vibe from it.
Yeah. What's up, Trip? Buddy Trip Morgan's here. He's saying Cam gets that sneak easily and have to go for it, especially on the road in that spot. If that's home,
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
you're feeling your defense. Maybe I can see that, but
Mhm.
What defense?
Oh, yikes.
But well, actually, the other thing was Chris. I'm not Bobby. You were talking to Chris about fine. If you want Demir Bird, then you have to take a jersey away, and that is a good point. If you want Demir Bird,
Vernon?
even when he's
Somebody say
healthy,
Vernon?
He's
who,
over
who,
Vernon.
who loses the jersey?
I mean, you could take the rest of Vernon's jerseys for the rest of the season. As far as I
Oh
care.
shoot.
Bobby's
you
gonna
can-
go take his
I mean, you
uniform.
can-
Yeah.
I mean, we just got to be honest at this point. Vernon is probably one of the biggest disappointments we've ever had in this franchise. But I will say that
Ooh, I don't know.
I'm okay with him.
I
with
watched
him
Jimmy Clausen play.
I said
Ooh.
one of them. I said one of them.
Okay,
I didn't say all
okay.
of them. I said one of them. But and so Jimmy Clausen, in all fairness to him, John Fox said he had never even scouted Jimmy Clausen. He just drafted him. So he kind of went into a bad situation. But off to whoever would get their jersey taken away, I'm all for Vernon Butler not having a jersey. That's okay with me. And honestly, with all jokes aside, he would actually be the guy. Like I'm literally thinking about our entire roster. He would be the guy that I would take the jersey from. And that's not even me trying to be funny. It's just about production.
I like it, Bobby.
Mm.
Well, hey,
I
we
agree.
missed you this weekend, man.
I missed you guys. I was sitting down
Nice.
on my couch. My daughter, my son were beside me, and I stood up, and I like stood up the entire fourth quarter almost. And my son asked, he was like, "Is that what you would be doing at the game?" And I was like, "God, dig!" I missed them, man. Like, I wanted to be there so freaking bad. So
Fun fact:
trust me, I miss y'all too.
I've never sat down at a football game. So and
Really?
even when I watch Panthers games, I sometimes stand up in my living room.
Really?
But
It's difficult not
hey,
to.
sweet Roaring Riot tailgate today. It was awesome to
Yes.
That was lots of
to
fun.
see some
When
people.
it wasn't raining.
It did rain a little bit in the tailgate today,
I
Bobby.
bought a
but
$10 poncho.
ponchos were flying. People were having some fun. It was awesome to see some faces for the first time. But we get the Philadelphia Eagles, who have 10 days rest.
Of course.
Ugh.
Next weekend on the road again. Is this a must-win game? I don't know. Because
I don't think this is
well,
a
as
must-win
well
game,
as
but
far
I
as
think
as
we-
far as the division goes, because you get the Saints 3-1 right now.
Saints are
I think they're
Well,
4-1.
4-1.
They're 4-1.
Looking to be
now
gaining momentum.
Now Atlanta is 2-3.
Atlanta has won a game.
Yeah.
And
Another game.
now Tampa Bay is
I'm not worried
2
about.
and 3.
I'm not worried about Tampa Bay though. No.
no.
They're I actually before
I mean,
This
his,
whole
They have
division
a
is-
divisional win right
before
now.
Yeah.
today.
We don't.
Before
Yeah.
today, they were in the playoffs as well. So
Right. So I'm just worried about all of them, to be honest with you.
and then and Chris actually made the joke that the Falcons the way they were playing were almost in line for a top 5 pick, just because of how their season's going with their
Yeah.
injuries and whatever, and that would be terrifying to have that team get a good pick in addition to get players back next
yeah.
year. I figure that would be something tough for years to come. So
yeah.
When your team plays poor, I don't want to say plays poorly. When your team loses because they have suffered so many injuries in key positions. I mean, they lost a ton out of their secondary. It's easier for me as a fan to stomach those sorts of seasons.
right,
Like
then
when
how
I-
it's yeah,
But when we
because
have
it's supposed to go like that,
exactly
and you know what I'm saying.
exactly,
Yeah,
so we have a team that's relatively healthy.
right.
Not
I'm
playing
using
to
my
their
air quotes for those
potential.
of you that can't see me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be playing, so not to our potential is 10 times more frustrating. Which is why I keep going back to frustrating.
And what's more frustrating on that is it's almost like they can play at times in a game.
We saw it.
We've
We
had
saw
amazing
it.
quarters in the 2 games that we've lost.
Yeah. Did y'all see Torrey Smith's quote after the game?
No.
Great teams play great the whole game.
Right.
Good teams play great at times, or something like that.
Okay. Torrey's good with quotes. I like Torrey.
He's a wise man.
I actually was so I think Torrey kind of got back at me today because Josh Norman was covering him, and we were going on about how Curtis Samuel's not on the field, and I was like, "Oh, Torrey Smith covered by Josh Norman. We know how this is gonna go." And literally that was when he caught 4 passes in a row, including the touchdown and the extra point.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Okay, my bad."
Yeah.
If we can get that Torrey Smith every week,
Sure.
okay.
Well, and that's the thing that me and Bobby were talking about a couple weeks ago was that we need to get Torrey involved in those short yardage situations. I don't understand why
Yeah.
he was just being used for the deep threat, and then that was it. Because
So-
I think that he needs to build up his confidence with Cam,
Well,
and they
that's-
need to work on those intermediate passes and running some slants and doing those kinds
Yeah,
of plays.
because immediately when the Panthers get a receiver like Torrey Smith, you just naturally think, oh, he can do
The long
what Ted
ball.
Ginn did.
Right,
If
yeah.
Ted Ginn can do it, anyone can do it. And maybe that's not true. I really thought Torrey could be that role of you kind of forget about him every now and then, and he'll beat you on a big play,
Yeah.
but not be the guy that you go to on 3rd and 5.
And
you know,
if anyone, I would think that Curtis is more built for
Curtis
those
plays pretty
plays.
tough too.
Yeah.
He
If he
takes some hits if he plays.
plays.
From what I've seen in
He's made of glass too.
in Madden, he's got great toughness. No.
I keep going back to how fans have been calling more DJ. We
Yeah.
need more.
Yeah.
DJ, more. And it just I don't know whether the moment was too big for him or if clearly, the coaches had seen
Yeah.
something in practice, but they were like, okay, we're just going to put him out there. Everybody wants to see him.
Yeah.
Let's
This is
see,
homecoming. Yeah, I don't
let's see
know.
what he can do.
Maybe he tried to do
I
too much
think
today.
I think DJ Moore's situation is a gift and a curse.
Mhm.
He has the talent, and he has that niche for that yak, that yards out there to catch, and I believe that's a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
And he goes for it so much versus going down when he should go down, and that sometimes that can be tough. We saw that with Adrian Peterson at the beginning of his career. He fumbled a whole lot.
Yeah.
Team's game plan was just to make him fumble, just because he loved to break tackles and keep the chains moving, and that's what we're seeing early from DJ Moore. Honestly, it's just a learning experience for him, and I think this game may have been that game he wanted to have a breakout opportunity, but unfortunately he didn't. But he did, in my opinion, show major confidence, show great resiliency in that fourth quarter, and I was proud of him the way he continued to go.
Oh yeah, it was nice.
I think
nice to get
Bobby's
back out
gonna
there.
hate me for this comparison.
Uh-oh.
But I mean,
Don't compare him to Bolden.
Don't do it.
No, I'm talking like Steve Smith. I think that part of the thing with DJ Moore is that coming out of college is he's just very unpolished. I mean, he went to Maryland, which isn't a big time school. He's not playing at that level that a lot of these other athletes are playing in. So that's why I hate when fans of the Panthers are constantly being like, oh, well, Calvin Ridley's doing this, and we should have taken Calvin Ridley and all of that, because you really can't compare the two. And I think that if you just give DJ time to settle in and to learn the playbook and to learn what he needs to do, that he can be really special.
Well, we saw last week, I mean, that granted, if Cam didn't make the block last week that he did, that play probably doesn't even happen. DJ probably gets blown up in the backfield, but I mean, he ran that ball like Adrian Peterson, like through people, just 12, 18
wrecking
yards.
everybody.
And then, we get him a ball again, and, he was a quick slant, but, he fumbles. People are going to fumble, but 2 fumbles in a game doesn't really go over well. So.
Well, and he didn't really have the ball secured in both,
He was doing what Cam did with it last week.
With the one hand,
Oh, God, that drives me crazy.
Greg Olsen with a rare fumble today, too. Luckily, that one rolled out of bounds.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that one.
yeah, this game could have really got off the rails if that Cam fumble, which I was saying it was a pitch. It was an option to Van Roden.
Can we go to like the good stuff? Because there was some good
There
stuff.
was some good stuff, yeah.
So, what about Devin Funchess today?
He mossed the man.
What
He did.
the actual hell was that?
Yeah.
I lost my
That
mind.
was
Funch.
fantastic.
Big game
is-
for Funch.
Textbook.
Yep.
You got mossed.
Yep.
Like, we're going to see that on
Well,
Monday.
I got worried because that ball, if the defender was playing it right, that's an interceptable ball.
Oh, sure.
So Devin made
Well, I
that
mean,
play happen.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest here, Dan. If that pass is to Calvin Benjamin, that's an interception.
Oh, snap.
we
We
all-
Well,
went there.
absolutely. When have we ever
No, I
seen
mean,
Kelvin
let's-
use his body like that?
If you're using your size.
Yeah, and like John was saying earlier, I mean, we got to give all credit to Devin Funchess for continuously getting better. He's gotten better every single year. He puts in the work to get better, and we're seeing a different level in him than we saw 2 years ago, even last year.
That young man is
so yes,
growing
I
up before
definitely
our
agree.
eyes.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yep.
and he's showing so much swag on the field. Like after he catches the ball, and the way he runs, the way he fights off the defenders. When he gets up, he celebrates, and I'm loving what I'm seeing from him. And John, I definitely agree. We have a lot of positive, regardless of the loss. We lost 23-17, but we have a whole lot of positives from this game. Like one of the positives may sound a little bit weird that I'm going to throw at you, but we barely saw Christian McCaffrey, or barely heard his name today, and we almost won. Right,
Yeah.
so to me, that also shows us that, well, we can win a game if Christian McCaffrey doesn't have a big game, because for a while, I was asking the question, well, can we win without this guy? I kept telling people, I was like, go ahead.
Well, that point actually came up on Boston radio, and I actually was so happy because they were all talking about Saquon Barkley and, if you want to rank players in the draft, fine. But if you want to rank, what your team needs, it's not necessarily X player, best player available. So they were actually saying, the Giants have Saquon Barkley. He has 230 yards, whatever total yards, and they still lose by 3 touchdowns. You have so many other holes in your team. And they were saying, well, he's basically their whole offense now. he's becoming their McCaffrey, their leading receiver some games, their leading rusher. And they actually made the point. They said, look at Christian McCaffrey. Everyone says they shouldn't have taken him 8th, but he gets drafted to the Panthers and he becomes their whole offense. And that is worrisome. Now that he doesn't have to be the whole offense. So I get what you're saying, Bobby. That if he doesn't have to be the offense and can still be Christian McCaffrey, theoretically, you should be a much better offense.
Sure.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Well, I'm going to eat this. So Joan and Anna brought me some candy corn.
And peanuts.
And
As they
peanuts.
should have.
So how would one eat this? Because I would just pick out
No.
like one peanut. Or do you do like a handful?
No, you don't.
Can you show me how you do it?
So, I would do a candy corn,
The
and
hell
I
is
would
this?
do
Yeah, show
2
everybody
peanuts.
at home.
Can I just eat half of it? Because if I don't like it, it's gonna be
no,
really bad.
just throw it. Just throw it in there, Den.
It looks really chewy. Does it take a while to chew?
No,
I've never had
no.
candy corn, by the way.
It's just sugar.
All right, I need
It's
to watch
just
this
sugar
down.
and
No, you don't.
corn
You're gonna
syrup.
ruin the taste of the candy corn by drinking that Gatorade.
Anyway, while I do
Look,
this,
I'll show you. You're not
Go for
gonna,
it,
You're
no.
not gonna die.
go for it. Bobby, you'd be really happy with me right now.
No, don't cut it.
I just want to see what's
I'm
inside it.
I'm not happy until you tell
The
me how
bigger
you
one.
like it.
Cheers. Here we go. Cheers.
All right,
All right.
let's do it then.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Candy corn shot.
That's really bad.
It's not.
It tastes like chocolate in a bad
It's
way.
not bad.
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not bad. Stop it. It tastes nothing like chocolate.
There's no chocolate.
You
in there
guys really eat that and like?
You're a
Yeah.
hater.
No, I definitely don't like that.
Okay.
Well, at least now you tried
mean-
it, and you can honestly say you don't
Like,
like
yeah,
it.
people like Den's gonna pretend not to like the candy corn, but he
Yeah,
really does.
Exactly.
That's fine.
I
That's
think,
fine,
I
though.
think it's just how I thought it would taste.
Okay. Well, at
It's
least
just
now
sugar
I
and corn
respect.
syrup or something.
At least now I respect your opinion because you've actually tried it. It was driving me crazy that you could sit there on your high hill and say, "I hate candy corn."
Well, most-
if you've never tried
Most
it.
human beings actually don't like candy corn.
No, that's not true.
I mean,
That's
y'all
true.
have to stop trying to reason
No.
with somebody. He lives in Boston. You can't be doing people in Boston.
Speaking about Boston, are they winning right now? We're
They
watching the
are.
Patriots game.
They're murdering.
Bobby, I'm not gonna lie. I think that you might have won the picks again, man. So Zach Luttrell
so-
jumped in our pick'em pool this week.
Mhm.
He called us all out.
He's gonna lose.
He said, "You guys are, he's like, it's so easy money." He said, "Easy money."
Yikes.
So I said, "Bring it." And I totally forgot to do the picks. I picked them walking to the game today, and I'm pretty sure they were all pretty bad.
Oh no.
So then let me ask you a question. So normally, just for the last few seasons, you've been able to just gloat about stuff. So 3 weeks ago, I told you, I said
It's just a peanut.
let's make a change to us making our picks.
Go ahead.
I think it's kind of unfair that I have to make my picks,
Yeah.
like 4 or 5 games before the game day. So I said, what do we agree on? Before the game starts. So we started picking our picks before the game starts. And I told you, I said, doing this next week, I'm going to catch you, and I caught you.
He did.
And I said, next week I'm going to catch Chris, and I caught him.
Oh man.
So here's the third week. I'm very interested to see where I stand now because I was laughed at for picking the Patriots to cover. I was laughed at for picking the
This game?
Cowboys to cover. Yeah.
I picked the Patriots. Patriots don't lose these games
Okay.
at home. I know that.
They do lose these games. They lost to Cameron Jarrell Newton.
Oh.
No,
So
these
they do lose
these
games.
primetime Clash of the Titans games, they don't lose.
There you go.
Oh, spare me. What clash of what Titans? Kansas City hasn't done anything. It's not even midway through the
they
season.
haven't-
They're
Like, they
5-0.
haven't done
There's
anything.
one thing they haven't done, and that's
and
lost.
that's
Bobby.
lose.
They were 5-0 this time last year too. Right?
Okay.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay. Yes. I mean, I'm not. I mean, it's Andy Reid's team. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna. Patrick Mahomes, his throwing style is cute. Game styles are cute,
It's
but
cute.
I'm not. I mean, at the end of the season, when I need you to win me give me a 4-game stretch to get me in the playoffs, do I think Andy Reid can put that together with this team? No.
Nope.
I don't. I really don't believe it. So, if that's the case, Ryan Fitzpatrick would have been MVP 2 weeks ago, right? So, I mean, it's. I don't buy into this early season hype, man, at all. I think after this game, I still think they'll be good after this game, but I think when we get up to week 12 or week 13, they won't even be in the discussion for
Well-
championship contenders.
Well, don't forget, Connor Orr came on our show here, Bobby, and picked the Chiefs to play the Panthers in the Super Bowl.
This is
So-
true.
And that was before
You did.
before
You
any
did.
games were played.
Don't
So-
forget that Patrick Mahomes can is ambidextrous and he can throw touchdown passes with both
Yeah,
hands.
he
or
can do
some,
that. He can
some
do that.
crazy magician-like.
You know what?
But
I am ambidextrous too, and it's not that great.
but you know what? I'm okay with them bragging about that. But what I'm not okay with is that number 7 guy from New Orleans that they keep talking about, the Hill
Yeah,
guy.
the Saints guy.
I'm really I'm so over. Like I actually had a New Orleans fan tweet me and
What's
say,
his last?
"Oh,
Taysom Hill.
Taysom
you're
Hill,
celebrating." Yeah, Taysom Hill. He was like, "Oh, don't," because I tweeted, I was like, "I can't wait for Drew Brees to retire or whatever," and he was like, "Oh, don't jump the gun because we got Taysom Hill." I'm like, "Really?"
Oh my gosh.
Seriously?
And they have Bridgewater too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting
Okay.
group over there. But
Well, to hear Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, Taysom Hill is the next coming of every,
Great
fantastic,
quarterback.
yeah, backup quarterback / special teamer.
yeah, I was gonna say he's out there
slash-
making tackles.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hey,
Those guys over there.
before we go, Bobby, one more thing we didn't talk about. Well, last week we talked about. I thought Cam made some dumb decisions. You blamed Ian Thomas, and then we talked about how they stuck up for him. Cam said they were his fault, whatever, giving him confidence. Did not see Ian Thomas on the field today. Chris Manhurst was
We
actually
did.
out there a lot.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
They
Catching
ran a screen to Chris
screens.
Manhurst.
That's like a Madden play.
They ran
Like,
a freaking screen
how does
to
that
Chris-
how does that actually exist in your playbook when you have Greg Olson? I don't know.
I don't-
Man, Dan, I will tell you, when I saw that screenplay, I had my Mac on my lap because I was responding to somebody, and I almost dropped it because I stood up and I was like, "Who runs?" I know my neighbors hated me. I said, "Who runs the screen to?" I was like, "We got Curtis Samuel, DJ Moore,
Yep.
Torrey Smith,
No,
Jared White. Pick one."
Big 8-2.
Man.
But-
That's your guy.
Oh man.
Well-
I don't get it. But yes, not seeing Ian Thomas today speaks volumes on what we were discussing last week with Ron Rivera coming out of state. And he never name dropped Ian Thomas, but he did say the player on that route should have been where they were supposed to be, and they didn't break on the route, which caused the interception. And we know who
Yeah.
that player was. It was Ian Thomas.
I,
So
st- I still
not to see him, but also keep in mind, I also think another reason we didn't see him was them trying to get Greg back in motion too, to get him back into the into rhythm. So that could have played into it too. So I'm not going to jump out there too early and say that they held him back, but I am interested to see if they stuck him on special teams because I didn't see him out there.
I didn't see him. I saw Alex Armah.
yeah.
Okay, Armand Sighton, my man Armand.
Someone on the comments here says they'd rather see a screen to Gano before Manhurts.
Ouch.
And also that Hill's like that player that you make in Madden that can do everything, like a real life Tim Tebow that can actually play tight end.
What do they call those guys?
Yeah.
A Swiss Army knife?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Hey, we
Swiss
have one
Army
of
knife,
those.
we do have one of those, but we'll see. Like I said, I thought I was blaming Cam a little bit for forcing a ball on 2nd and 20 last week,
Tater.
down in their
Hater.
territory. I don't know. I guess it was Ian's route that he didn't run, but I put
Cam
some of
did
that
not
on Cam.
Force the ball. Like what are you saying? Force the ball? Because like I told you, lads, you still. If that's Greg Olsen,
My point was, now we're talking about that again, but even if he runs the right route, it's a tight throw. Like you don't have
How
to
many times have we seen
anyone.
Cam complete that?
don't have to make that throw on 2nd and 20. You don't have to get it all
Right.
in
Well,
one
where
play.
did he go? Or maybe
I don't know.
the conversation should be you don't call that route on 2nd and 20.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
I heard two different schools of thought about that. They said that they were wondering whether Ian Thomas recognized that they were showing zone but were going man or vice versa. I can't remember which
Yeah.
it was. And that Cam,
Mm-hmm.
what he saw was either zone or
The
man,
opposite.
and that Ian recognized that they had switched and that Cam had not recognized that. So when Ian kind of hesitated and didn't go where Cam thought that he was going, it's because he recognized the defense
Yep.
had switched up. So,
Oh.
does that make
It almost
sense?
sounds like he
Is
was
it-
on an option route. Yeah, it almost
Yeah.
sounds like he was on an option route.
Okay, because I don't know what that means, but
Yeah.
but I did hear
Well,
somebody
I'm sorry.
say.
An option route is basically the entire Patriots offense.
Oh, okay.
There's
It's
multiple
basically-
routes that you run based on certain things.
Right. So
Yeah, so basically I have to assume what you're going to do.
Stats
and
people
if we,
would like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not on the same page in that.
Stats
happens,
people
so.
love that.
I
But
don't
yeah,
know.
I'm glad you brought that up because I had no clue. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's great info.
I heard somebody on the radio talk about it.
Okay, gotcha. Still good info though.
Oh, well, thank you.
Jones got the inside
For
scoop.
sure.
I want to go back for a second when you were talking when Anna was talking about DJ and how
Mhm.
we want to compare him to Steve Smith so badly.
Hmm.
Do you think if Steve had not made those
I was just gonna
comments
say,
at the
is it because of
draft?
the comment? Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, so um, the expectations are so high
Yeah.
because of those comments that Steve said. And, and Steve
Hmm.
wasn't, balls to the wall, set the, world on fire his,
Hmm.
rookie season either.
Right.
Not that many rookies are.
Right. And I think that's
Right.
why
Calvin
him.
Ridley is.
Yeah, because him and Calvin Ridley
In
were
the most
drafted.
explosive passing offense
Right. So I
across
think
from.
that they're always going to be
Yeah.
compared, and it's so unfair to DJ, but it's always going to
I
be
mean,
that.
when,
I
Like
when
mean,
they're
you
going to be
can't, they're
connected.
two completely
You'll always be
offenses.
compared to the guys that are picked ahead of you.
Absolutely.
I
You
mean,
can.
but here's the thing: you give us a Julio Jones, and I bet you DJ Moore is going to be open most of the game. I mean, you got a
Exactly.
That's
linebacker
valid
watching
too.
Julio
Yeah.
Jones, you got a cornerback watching Julio Jones, you got
Yeah.
a safety, and anytime you got two or three people watching Julio Jones, which is going to open up Calvin Ridley. So all of the Falcons fans bragging about that, all of the insane Panther fans, yes, you guys are insane, and these comments are really that like these not you two, but you know what I mean, but
Yeah.
these people who keep bringing this stuff up, you need to realize that there's more to the game than just that wide receiver catching that pass. There are a lot of intangibles that are going on around him, and the fact that Julio Jones can draw two or three eyes at any given time. Who on our offense is going to draw two or three eyes outside of Greg Olsen
Christian McCaffrey.
or Christian McCaffrey?
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah.
it. He's coming out of the backfield. So
Yeah.
with Julio, if Julio could just run a straight line down the field, the safety is still going to follow, which is
Yeah.
going to open up a post route across the middle,
Mhm.
anything out of the slot, or for Calvin Ridley. So
Yeah.
you put DJ Moore on that team, his numbers are probably the exact same.
Yeah.
Well, and then you throw in Mohamed Sanu in that offense too. So
And
Bingo.
Hooper's
There
an
you go.
And
under the radar
Hooper,
tight
yep.
end
oh
too.
my
Yep.
gosh.
So two
Damn
backs.
it.
Yep.
There you go.
It's nice when a team has
Oh,
two
man,
good running
Pat-
backs and
Patrick
uses them
Mahomes.
both.
That's fascinating. We should try that
Yeah.
sometime.
Yeah,
Yeah. This
Patrick Mahomes,
this
the
game's over,
Chiefs were
Bobby.
getting ready to score. Yeah,
Oh.
the Chiefs were getting ready to score before the half,
Yeah.
and Patrick Mahomes threw a second interception. That's tough.
Yep.
I wonder if that was his non-dominant
tough.
hand. So I don't know.
if only he had put it in his left hand and thrown it, he probably would have. The guy would have caught it.
Hey,
Because
anyway.
he's the next coming of
Yeah.
insert XYZ Hall of Famer.
This was fun, guys.
Yeah, Steve Young.
Joan
Yeah,
and Anna.
let this not be the last time.
Yeah, so this is
That's
we need and Bobby, you need to actually come and hang out, man. I know that this was
Yeah, don't tell me what to do then.
no, I know that this weekend was tough for you, but we'll see you this year, man. We'll we have a lot more games
Yeah,
and hopefully
definitely,
some more happy
definitely.
times. You know, that was fun last week
Yeah,
when we
and-
got to talk
Yeah,
about good
man.
things
Are you
Super
coming?
fun.
Are you coming
I-
for homecoming, Bob?
at the Ravens game.
My next game, I am trying to get down for the Tampa Bay home game.
Okay.
Maybe we'll plan it
That's the
then.
game that I'm targeting right now. Yeah. Just really quick, like for all of the idiots that are listening who
Heads
think
up.
women can't talk football. Yeah.
Oh no,
So
we
the idiots that are in our fan base who think women can't talk football, because I've seen a lot of you around. I hope this really shut you guys up. They actually have more knowledge than most of you men, so-called men on Twitter. So I really hope this shuts you guys up.
Very nice,
so you can
Bobby.
realize football is not a gender-based sport.
absolutely
okay.
not.
It's a genderless sport, if you ask me. So I'm glad to have Anna on. I'm glad to have Joan on, and I hope this is not the last time. I've enjoyed this podcast, probably more than anyone that we've had. So
I like
this
that.
was great.
I
Well,
like
thank
that.
you all so
yeah.
much for having us.
Yeah.
It was a lot
Hashtag,
of
Yeah, it
fun.
was a lot of fun.
Hashtag girl gang.
You got it.
Yep.
What's
There you
new?
go.
What's new with the girl gang? I know you guys are always.
We're just hanging out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. You can just hang out.
Anna and I are going to go back and do a bubbling charcoal face mask.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
Nice. Is that
Oh,
on Facebook Live too?
That sounds
That will
Oh,
not be on Facebook
okay,
Live,
okay.
but it might be on Instagram.
Wait
We've
a
been
minute,
known to send
bubbling
each other
charcoal
pictures
face
of,
mask?
of the bubbling sheet mask on our faces on Instagram.
So you put this mask on. See, I'm not a mask guy. I don't.
It's
It's okay.
a piece of paper.
I'm
basically
also
that-
scared to. I don't paint my face. Like
Yeah,
one
no,
of my
it-
biggest phobias is being written on with a pen. Did you know that?
No.
Well, now I know.
So this is actually like a piece of paper, and it's
Okay.
Coated.
coated. It's coated
Oh
in
my
a
God.
in a creamish stuff,
Okay.
and it has like the eyes cut out and the mouth. It's really kind of creepy, and you stick it on. It sticks on your face because it has this creamy little
Gotcha.
shiny stuff. And the current favorite is this bubbling one that literally like starts foaming when it hits oxygen. So it's really kind of crazy looking, but it does, detoxifies your skin and it makes your skin really soft.
It cleans out your pores.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you have,
That's super
I'm
cool.
not as young as Anna. I'm more than twice her age, so
Stop
I have
it.
to do
Stop
what I
this.
can to try to ward off.
That's no, that's great.
Father time.
Maybe I'll get into masks. I don't know. We'll see.
If Spence
So
is
ho-
listening, is Spence on?
I don't know if Spence is on.
Spence is a fan of the sheet mask.
He is. I
Yeah.
was gonna say, can guys do masks? Is that weird?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You have-
I
you
mean, I'm not gonna
absolutely
do it.
Yeah,
I just
then-
wanted to know if
Yeah.
if-
You know,
Ben,
it
I'm telling
probably
you right now.
Bobby,
Go ahead.
are you a mask guy, Bobby?
No, but when you have a daughter, you have no choice.
There you
Okay.
go.
there you go.
Okay.
You can do
So you may as well,
just the
if you
under
have a little
eye
girl, you
ones
may as
if
well.
you wanted.
Exfoliation does wonders for everyone. That's also genderless.
Yes.
There you go.
Well, there you go. We'll do so. Yeah, we'll do some.
So you did. Your listeners didn't realize they were going to get a little.
No, I
A
like
little
it. I
beauty.
like
a
it.
little beauty news.
We
mixed
so
in with
this
their
this week
football.
I tried
They're probably
candy
all
corn.
off by now. They're like, bye. I don't want to hear about these sheet
Next
masks.
week I'll try a mask. We'll see. But
Only if
There
you
you go.
Facebook Live that. I'll mail you one.
I'm into it. Anyway, this was fun. Hey, shout out to everyone that I met in the Roaring Riot today and in bus 3. Bus 3 was the best bus, by the way.
That would be bus 2.
Bus
No,
two.
it was bus 3.
It was
That would
bus
be
two.
bus 2.
I had the mic on bus 3, so anyone that was
Clearly,
on
you
awesome.
bus
didn't
3.
see Salesman give away his identity.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Maybe you need to.
Bus 2 sounds boring. I don't know.
Bus 2 was the best bus.
Was that your captain, salesman? I
It
think he was the captain of the whole weekend.
I
He
think
was.
so too. He was the MVP of
Yeah,
the whole
He
weekend.
didn't take off his sunglasses the whole ride back.
He's
from
he's
the
too
game. He
cool
was,
for the podcast. I'm gonna keep calling him out every time. But
Until he comes on.
until he comes on. But yeah.
But were you guys chanting if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands?
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
There
no,
was
our
some
by the
guy-
way, our
some man was.
by the way,
Our bus was a lot of fun.
shout out to whoever was on bus 3 in the back because I was so tired. I just sat down and was just like not talking. The whole bus was silent just because like
It's
was so
draining.
deflating
It is
to
really
lose like that.
draining.
and some dude in the back of the bus like stands up and gives this like pep talk about the season and I was like
Why didn't you put that on Instagram?
I missed it. I know. Because I was like, who's
Dropping the
yelling?
ball, Dan.
So, but whoever that was, if you know that person, bus 3, they were calling me
Yeah.
dad.
Dad.
But I couldn't.
Instead of Den.
Yeah, but I
That's
thought they were
hilarious.
saying Den, so I would always turn around
Dad.
and then it's just like older guys calling me dad. It was really weird.
We had a lady who's due with her second baby in 3 weeks
Oh wow,
on our bus.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Panthers football,
Yeah.
it's life.
I
Raised
did,
right.
I did find out that I'm not like the biggest bad luck charm
Okay.
for away games because I'm 0-3.
Ooh, well, I'm
Oh, yeah,
now
I'm
0
0-1.
I'm 0-2 now when I sit next to Zach.
All right,
So-
we gotta
that
get.
why
we
he
gotta
moved?
get you.
So one of us
to
can't
go.
come.
that why
So
he
I will
moved?
be running the ride. No, that's actually not why he moved. When DJ Moore fumbled,
Mhm.
Zach just wanted to go home. It was
Oh,
funny. He really
no.
just lost faith. So, but then I don't know where he went, but he just wherever he went, they started winning. So that
Right.
section didn't let him leave.
So
right.
he had
Well,
to stay.
yeah, because I
okay.
texted him. I'm like, "Where did you guys go?" And he's like, "I
Yeah.
moved seats, and we're playing better, so I can't move."
I get that.
Yeah.
It's like Celtic
Yeah.
Pride. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen that movie Celtic Pride?
Mm-mm.
He makes everyone move.
No, I do that at home too. Because I live in a 2-story townhome, so I'll usually watch the game downstairs.
Mhm.
And if we're playing really poorly, I'll turn it off and I'll go upstairs, and then the game will turn around, and then I'm like, well, now
Yeah,
I'm
you
stuck up
gotta stay,
here.
yeah.
I've been known to send my family away because like games where we were winning, and then
Yep. Certain people.
they come, like the other team will have come back,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll figure out that like my family have come home, where I was like there by myself.
And they didn't tell you, right?
Well,
Sometimes
no, they're
yeah.
like, my son will be upstairs on the, the GameCube.
Wow.
No,
We're going way
he's
back.
on the Xbox. And then my husband is sitting
TBT.
downstairs, and I'm like, we were playing fine until
Yeah.
you people came in.
No,
here.
I
You need
totally
to
So
buy
you gotta
into that.
go.
Yeah.
And literally, my husband one time he was like, "You're serious?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Get the heck out of here!" I mean, I think their feelings were hurt.
Superstitions,
I'm
man.
like,
Everybody's got
go.
'em.
Yeah.
I have some weird ones. I wore the same black T-shirt every day,
Oh.
Mhm.
My
and then but all they have to do is win like once when you don't do it, and you're like, I don't have
Yeah.
to do that anymore.
My best one was 2015 when I didn't cut my hair and we kept winning, and I was like,
All right.
I can't get a haircut.
Well,
You and
Ne-
Greg,
next-
you and Greg also.
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
next week we'll
Oregon hair.
we'll
and
start
then
that.
and then I didn't wash my Cam jersey for like so many weeks, and it was disgusting. But you have to do what you have to do.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Bobby,
There you go.
I told you we would only do a half an hour tonight. It was
Yeah,
not a half an
right.
hour.
Anna was supposed to be our clock.
I know.
Sorry,
We're
guys. I
stats
dropped the ball.
stats over here.
Not
that- is that-
unlike the other
that-
4 players.
Is that my new nickname? Is Stats?
You said,
It's just
yeah,
Stats.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Cam would call you Stats.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think
Okay.
if Cam had a nickname
Janky.
for you, it would
I'm gonna change my Twitter name to
No.
just Stats.
you should.
There
Definitely.
you go. There you go.
Hashtag
That's
Stats.
your nickname from now on.
All right, sounds good, Bobby.
Anyway,
I can't call you Anna. I can't call her Anna Banana.
I like Anna Banana, and yeah, Anna Banana's good.
All right, that works too.
Yeah. Did you make that up, Bobby?
Yeah, I think you
I
did.
think you did. Yeah.
I think it's because you just didn't
I
know my
did.
last name, so he was like Anna Banana, and it works.
There you go. It worked, right?
I think it's funny how people think my Twitter handle is Joan Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if anybody followed me on Facebook,
I
when
always
was
read
still
it
on
like
Facebook,
I always because it's a Z, so I always read it like
like season.
Joan pleases,
Yeah.
which is
So
kind
it's
of weird.
actually,
Actually,
yeah. So
I
it's,
should have thought that one through before I
yeah,
said it
so
out loud.
There you
But
go.
yeah,
PZLS.
Yeah.
So it's my maiden name and my married
Hey.
name.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
PZLS.
Hey, then we have children that listen to the show.
Keep it PG, man.
Touche. Well, hey, speaking of shows, we are on the Riot Network. Listen to our Riot Network family podcast, One Day Contract. It is what it is, in the Roaring Riot podcast. We do these breakdowns or post games rather every Sunday when we can. I hope the internet here at the is it the Resident?
Residence.
Yeah, we're calling it the
Not the
Residence.
Renaissance.
Yeah.
Not the Renaissance.
So we are still here in DC. We'll be back this week, Bobby. We'll be talking about this Philly game and what I think is a must-win if you want to talk about the division.
There you go.
If you want to sneak in a wild card,
Okay.
sure, they can lose that. But hostile environment,
I don't know.
Philly.
That whole NFC is tough too, so you gotta.
I actually picked the Saints to win this division this year and the Panthers to win the wild card.
Wild card. Okay.
So I'm still sticking that's kind of our route here. But
That's a
All
good pick.
right.
yeah, but
How dare you pick against your team, Dan? You're not a
dude,
fan.
you
Oh, no.
you do it every week and you're winning the pool.
I
So
do.
you're gonna win the
I
Bolden
do.
jersey this
Very
year.
successful.
So
Oh,
I see where your loyalty lies, Bobby.
Oh, don't treat me like that. I'm just trying to win.
Ugh.
All right.
I'm
That's
like,
fine.
But is it
honestly,
you winning more important than our team winning?
Bobby, just tell them
the
the numbers don't lie.
No. So, and here's the thing, like, I never pick us to cover a split because I never believe we're going to win by more than 3 points.
Oh my gosh.
It's just,
Cardiac
No,
cats,
no,
baby.
honestly,
that's actually true.
Yeah.
yeah, seriously, I never pick them to cover the spread unless they play somebody like the Browns, then I may, but I'm not going to pick them to cover a
And
spread.
don't
when they
count the
can't
Browns
close
out this
close
year.
games out. Yeah, there you go, and even that, but I don't know, it's just been that way. I'm not going to pick against them all season, but it's just been that way. I'm sorry, guys.
It's all good.
Well, we'll see who you pick later in this week, and I'm sure we'll be underdogs going into Philly. I think.
Oh, definitely.
So,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
so we'll pick it up then. We'll have you, Chris, you and Chris, rather, and we'll see who we can get on with
What's
us.
up, Chris?
Yeah, Chris couldn't join us tonight, but yeah, we gotta have you guys back on. Thanks for
Okay, yeah.
thanks for doing
Thanks
this.
so
This was
much.
fun, and we'll see the rest of you guys later. Keep pounding.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Keep on it.